You love the mission. You care about the community. But secretly, you're wondering if it might be time to leave. And you feel guilty even admitting that to yourself. Most nonprofit leaders are trapped by a false rule. They believe if they still care about the cause, they have a strict duty to stay in the seat. Today, I'm going to show you why staying just because you care might be hurting your organization. Then I'll give you 3 uncomfortable questions to figure out if your time is up. Because the truth is, you can love the mission and still be completely ready to leave. That false rule, the idea that caring means you have to stay, feels noble. But without you noticing, it turns your passion into a contract you never wrote, a contract with no exit clause. I had to face this myself. I led a community development organization for 3 years. I was all in. We brought in major funding, made smart moves, and brought a building. I loved it. But eventually, I realized something uncomfortable. I had stabilized the organization and proven the concept. But the next chapter, building internal HR systems, managing a growing board, and grinding through a long-term implementation plan, that wasn't what I wanted to do. That was really for somebody else. Someone who could take on that day-to-day energy. Now, stepping away wasn't a failure of commitment. It was really clarity, because I became clear on what it was that I wanted to do. Here is the rule you need to remember. Loving the mission and being the exact right person to lead its next chapter are 2 completely different things. And they can stop being true at the same time. And once you separate your love for the mission from your duty to the seat, it forces you to look at your leadership entirely differently. In fact, it brings us to those 3 questions you need to ask yourself right now. Question number 1. If you were not already in this job, would you hire you to lead this organization through its next big challenges? I don't mean the crisis you just survived. I mean what is coming next. A massive funding shift, major staff turnover, or a merger. If your energy and skills don't match the future, it's a sign. Which leads us to question number 2. And this is the one that kind of stings. What is your staying really costing the organization right now? Look at the daily cadence. Are the new ideas sitting in drafts waiting on your approval? Are decisions stacking up on your calendar or on your desk, and are staff holding back because they expect you to play the hero and step in? Now, you might think those are signs that the organization cannot survive without you, but they aren't. They're really signs of dependency. And dependency is not a legacy worth leaving. But question number 3 is the one that truly keeps leaders trapped in their seat. And here it is. If you already knew you had a guaranteed, meaningful life after this role, would you still be in that chair? Now, listen to me. If your honest answer is no, your delay is not about what the organization needs. It's entirely about you and not being able to picture what comes next. If you're sitting with that third question right now and thinking, I might be part of the problem, but I have no idea how to untangle this, we need to talk. I run a one-to-one succession strategy session specifically for situations like this. We look at where your organization is too dependent on you, what that means for your timing, and exactly what your next move should be. There's a link in the description to grab a time with me. But listen, whether we talk or not, you need to rethink what leaving really looks like, because most leaders get succession entirely wrong. Most leaders frame succession as an exit event, the exact moment you hand over the keys and walk out that door. And that framing is exactly why it feels so terrifying to start. Here's a completely different way to look at it. Before anyone posts a job description, the very first move isn't leaving. It's deciding how you're going to stay, but differently. You have to make a clear choice to shift from being the person pulling all the strings right there, leading things, being the center of attention, handling every single thing, to becoming a valuable guide. That means stepping into the role of ambassador, mentor, or primary fundraiser. You remain connected to the mission, but you stop being the hub around which every single decision revolves. Because, here's the brutal truth. If nothing about how you lead changes before your successor arrives, it does not matter who you hire. They aren't going to inherit your legacy. They're going to inherit your organization's dependency on you. The mark of a mature leader is not how often you swoop in to rescue your team. It's how rarely you need to do that. If your organization can run, adapt, and grow without every single decision running across your desk, that is succession work. That is what you are really building to. But doing this requires getting the timing right. And unfortunately, most leaders get the timing completely backwards, which cost them the exact options they are trying so hard to protect. You are not the only one feeling this way. Almost 90% of nonprofit leaders say the demands of the job never stop. Because the work is so hard, most leaders wait until something breaks before they think about leaving. They wait for a money crisis or a fight with the board, or they wait until they're totally burned out. Not intentionally, but that's just the way things happen. They want the pain to make the choice for them. But here's the problem. When you wait until everything hurts, you can't tell the difference between what you need to survive and what the organization needs next. The best transitions happen when you still have energy, trust, and choices, not after all those things are gone. You are allowed to plan your exit while you still can. You can step down while you still have gas in the tank. Now, that's not selfish. it is responsible. The best leaders make the call before the pressure makes it for them. Listen, if this is hitting home for you and you want real talk about nonprofit executive succession instead of just generic advice, hit the subscribe button. I make videos specifically to help you navigate these exact choices and high stakes moments. But knowing when to leave is only half the battle. There is one big hidden question that keeps most leaders in the seat way too long, and almost nobody in the nonprofit world likes to admit it or talk about it. The question is, what comes next for me? It doesn't mean just retiring and fading away. I mean finding something that still matters, something that uses your skills, like consulting or mentoring or a new kind of leadership. Most leaders have never seen a good exit modeled for them. They don't have a picture of what life looks like after the top job. So they freeze and they stay. If the only reason you are still in your seat is that you can't picture a good life without it, that is about you. It's not about the organization needs. Now, this is not a criticism. It is the most human thing in the world. You have poured years into something that matters. Of course you don't want to walk away, but loving the mission does not mean you have to stay in the role. The leaders who do this best don't wait until they're 100% sure. They just get honest with themselves before it feels comfortable. I struggled with this exact same thing. And it seemed like it was just taking me such a long time to figure out, well, if I leave, what do I do next? And it wasn't until I realized that, one, I could really answer that question. And two, answering that question really focused both on my needs and the organization's needs. So deep down, you already know if it's your time. Now you just have to have the permission to act on it. But once you decide to step back, you are probably wondering perhaps what this transition looks like inside your organization, inside your building. How do you shift your role without breaking things? Well, I want you to click on the video on the screen right now, and I will show you exactly how to do it. I'll see you over there.